one call, just a horrible, horrible situation for them.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Welcome back to TakeaSide. I'm your host, Max McElroy. It's great to be back in the studio. Before we get started, be sure to log on to Sida.co or the Sida Debates app to post, comment, and engage in other debates on the website to earn points and climb that leaderboard for a chance at a $25 Amazon gift card. With all the action from a variety of sports, now is a great time to get on and start posting. Moving into our Super Bowl special, I am first joined by Jordan Ziegler and Brady Borgeli to debate who the most important non-quarterback playing next Sunday is. Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are both MVP finalists, but these two QBs have a lot of talent around them on offense and defense. For Super Bowl 57, who will be the most impactful player? Brady, let's start with you.
In my opinion, the most valuable player in this Super Bowl has to be Patrick's main man, Travis Kelce. Probably the most dominant tight end that we've seen in the last 5 years. And he always seems to come up clutch in big games, so I don't think it'll be any different for Travis this season, or this Super Bowl. I just feel like it's his time to shine. He'll find open spots in the field, and I just don't see anyone else besides Travis Kelce.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Travis Kelce is a huge part of that Chiefs offense, and he's definitely going to be a reason to help them win if they do win the game. But I could see a path for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl without Travis Kelce even finding the end zone. With that being said, though, I think the most important player that's not a quarterback in this Super Bowl is actually Miles Sanders. He's come on strong with the best year of his career so far this year, and this is probably one of the best, if not the best, Eagles team in franchise history, especially if they end up winning this Super Bowl. He has 2 postseason TDs. They both came in the NFC Championship game last week. He's averaging 4.7 yards a carry in the postseason, which is a very, very good number. He's an over 1,000-yard rusher this year. He's got 11 TDs. He was elected to the Pro Bowl. Obviously didn't play in it because he's playing in the Super Bowl. He has been an absolute stud all season long, and the Eagles' offense kind of does revolve around him. When he's having a great game, it opens up pass options for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, for Jalen Hurts to throw to. So that's kind of why I have Miles Sanders as my most important player.
I do slightly agree because the Chiefs' pass defense hasn't been that great in the postseason, especially, and that offensive line will they'll tear that defensive line up, in my opinion. I just think Travis Kelce is it's his season to show he's still that guy. He already has 3 touchdowns in this playoffs with 176 yards, but what I find most impressive is that he has 25 targets and 21 receptions. So he really just doesn't drop the ball. Every single time Mahomes will throw to him, he's going to make a play. He's going to get open. He's been a problem for years, and I just don't think it's going to change. Other people I could see making a huge impact, especially on the defensive side, maybe Chris Jones. He's had a good postseason so far, especially against the Bengals. He had a really good game, and I could see him getting to the quarterback a lot in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Kelce has been that guy, not only this year for the Chiefs, but basically his entire career for the Chiefs, which I think is actually negative in him being the most important player. They're going to game plan for Kelce. It's ridiculous to think that's not the majority of the game plan is trying to stop Travis Kelce, which means I think Juju Smith-Schuster, Isaiah Pacheco, kind of what would be role player guys in the Chiefs offense are actually going to be the most important part of the Chiefs offense because those are the dudes that are going to find themselves open, or Pacheco's the guy that's going to find himself able to run. Whereas the opposite is true for Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is a guy that you're not going to be game planning for. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, 2 super good wide receivers for the Eagles, and the Chiefs have one of the worst pass defenses in the entire league. Most of the Chiefs' game plan is going to involve trying to stop that Eagles pass defense. Not to mention Miles Sanders is running behind the best offensive line in the entire NFL, and the Chiefs are one of the worst offensive lines. Miles Sanders is going to have holes to run through, and when A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith are covered up the entire game, because that was the whole Chiefs game plan on defense, then Miles Sanders not only having a ton of running room, but he's also going to need to run for a great game in order for the Eagles to pull away, which is why I think he's going to be most valuable. Honestly, I argue Miles Sanders might be more valuable than Jalen Hurts in this game. Like, he might be the most valuable player even with QBs involved.
Because of the way he's going to be able to open up their offense. But I could say the same thing about Travis Kelce because they'll game plan so much against him that it will also be able to get other people open, such as Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney, and it will help their run game a lot because they're so focused on him, not making a huge impact on the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's the case for sure, but like, if you focus on Travis Kelce and he doesn't make a huge impact on the game, then can he really be the most valuable player? Like, even if...
I think just purely based on the way that the defense will scheme their plan against him makes him valuable enough, and he still has the chance to blow up and have a 150-yard game and 2 touchdowns. So he's just such a factor for Mahomes to just feed the ball to that I just can't see him not being the most valuable non-quarterback in this game. He is the most talented quarterback in the league throwing to him. He's the best tight end that we've seen, I don't know, past 5 years. It's just, I think it's inevitable.
I mean, that's a valuable point, but also at the same time, the Chiefs haven't seen a defense like the Eagles the entire postseason. I mean, the Bengals secondary, that's nothing to write home about. And honestly, the Bengals secondary held Travis Kelce and the Chiefs offense in check for a majority of that game. So a team that struggled with the Bengals secondary, it's hard for me to see that that team is going to put up great numbers against a secondary that is substantially better. But we have another Super Bowl debate coming up after this. It's going to be just straight up Super Bowl predictions. So Hector De Leon and Matt Menier are going to have their Super Bowl picks coming up for you after the break.
Welcome back. For our last debate, I am joined by Hector De Leon and Matt Menier to debate their Super Bowl predictions. Both teams are 16-3, both have scored the same amount of points, and both teams have excellent quarterbacks. Matt, who do you think is going to win this very evenly matched game?
Well, I think it's going to be, first of all, a great Super Bowl this year. Truly two of the best teams in the league. You look at the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFC going against each other in the Eagles and the Chiefs. But let's just look at both these teams' offense first. They're both actually tied for the league lead in points per game at 28.7 points. So both these offenses are so high power. They're both so good. But I think the one area that the Eagles have over the Chiefs is their defense. The Eagles D-line, they have amazing defensive line. Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat, Ndamukong Suh, all guys who have proven to be real studs in the league. And they lead the league in sacks with 70. So I think if the offensive line for the Chiefs struggles a little bit, I think the Eagles are going to have a field day.
You bring up a really good point. You know, this Eagles pass rush and this Chiefs O-line is a big storyline right now. I'm thinking shades of Super Bowl 55 with Tampa versus the Chiefs O-line. And then again, it was very injured. I mean, I can't ignore that elite pass rush, man. And Hassan Reddick is definitely the best one on there out of all four of them, or five of them. And I mean, he's going against Andrew Wiley, who gave up the most sacks on that O-line with 9, which is pretty bad. I won't lie.
Yeah.
And also, I'll give the Eagles credit as well for their secondary. James Bradbury in particular, he's pretty elite and very underrated back there. But
Definitely.
I will also mention the Chiefs defense is second in pass rush with over, I want to say, was it 50 sacks? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, they're still pretty.
Yeah, second best in sacks. And, I mean, we got Chris Jones against Jason Kelsey. I mean, that's a matchup I'm excited to see. Chris Jones, very elite this season, first team All-Pro, over 15 sacks this season. So definitely not something to scoff at, you feel me? And then we got Joe Tooney against James Hargrave. I think Joe Tooney got that fine. I think he'll be fine against that. And then Creed Humphrey is the second best center in the league. So I'm not too worried about the O-line, but you got to also make sure you don't be blitzing Patrick Mahomes now. You know, he has a career 140 rate against the blitz. Can't be blitzing him. I know the Eagles, they probably won't be doing that. They probably know better, but that's got to be mentioned.
We'll see there. I mean, their defense has played really well. The Eagles' defense has played really well so far in the postseason. I believe they got, 7 points against the Giants, and then, again, 7 against the Niners. Again, their competition hasn't been the best so far in the playoffs. The Giants were a good team, but they're nowhere near the top of the NFC. And then the Niners Niners are playing hurt, so that's a little tough. But I still think this team showed their offense is elite. Jalen Hurts, 3,700 passing yards, 8.1 yards attempt with 22 touchdowns and only 6 picks. And he missed 2 games. I think it was 2 games this year too. So and when the games they do play, he's 14-1, including the playoffs. So that's an amazing record. He's just shown a huge leap from last year to this year, and he's now one of the MVP candidates with Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's going to win it because Patrick Mahomes is just like out of this world when it comes to QBs. But both QBs are very, very good offensively. But I think that the one thing that also the Eagles have over the Chiefs is the run game. Jalen Hurts can run the ball so well. Miles Sanders, Miles Sanders, he had 1,200 yards this year. And then even these receivers, they got, I think you'd agree with me that the receiving core for the Eagles is better than the Chiefs.
I would agree.
A.J. Brown, almost 1,500 yards. Devontae Smith, 1,200 yards. And even Dallas Goedert, he's nowhere near Travis Kelce, but he's definitely a top probably 8 tight end in the league. So he's nothing to scoff at either. Their receiving core is definitely one of the tops in the league. I think it's going to be tough for this Chiefs secondary to stop them.
Right. You bring up a lot of good points. And I'm going to give Jalen all his flowers. He's an amazing quarterback. I love him. I think he's great. But I think it's also something interesting to mention. He only averaged under 5 yards passing attempts against the 49ers. And they beat them down, man. But I think that's an interesting stat to look into. Now, Chiefs secondary isn't great. But, these couple of rookies with, we got Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson, they're not great covering those receivers. I'm not going to say they're going to lock them down, but they can get the picks when they need to. They got 3 picks over the last 2 games in the playoffs, so it's nothing to look past. But also, looking into it a little bit, the Eagles, not great against running backs, especially passing backs. And we got Jarrett McKinnon, he's Jarrett McKinnon. He had a great comeback season this year. And then Isaiah Pacheco, little rookie man, 7th-round pick. He runs hard, and I think that's something ignored, is that the Eagles' defense is great. Not as good as you would think against the rush, against rushing teams and such. And I know the Chiefs don't run the ball all the time, but man, when they do, they can be a
Yeah,
little
I know the
effective.
Chiefs are very reliant on Patrick Mahomes. I think if he's needing to throw the ball 40 up to 50 times in this game, I think they're gonna have trouble. And if he does end up doing that, they're probably not going to do so well, because you see a lot of the games this year. Patrick Mahomes, he's throwing it so much, and then the defense, once you start throwing the ball so much, they can just read that, and they can start playing heavier coverage in the secondary, and they can just load up, start blitzing the quarterback. But yeah, I think that if the Mahomes ends up throwing the ball a lot, I think it's gonna be tough for the Chiefs. And you get the run game going.
I don't know. I think
He's so good though that even you
Mahomes is so good, bro. He had a 113 rating against the Jags with the blitz coming at him, and he was on like generously 1.5 ankles. I'm gonna say he was on 1.25 ankles in that game.
Yeah.
Like, man was struggling, but in the AFC Championship against a good defense of the Bengals, like he got sacked 3 times. He still passed for 326 yards, 2 touchdowns for a 106.4 rate in the cold. It was cold that day. So, and it's going to be nice in Zona, man. He's going to be chilling.
Yeah.
And then we got to think about matchups, too. I mean, like Travis Kelce against who? C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Come on now.
I want to go back to your point about Mahomes playing on like one and a half legs. I think that's the advantage the Eagles have in this game. Mahomes is 100% healthy. Even if he's at 80%, he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But not at 100%. I think the Eagles can take advantage of that, pressure Mahomes, and make him run where he doesn't want when he doesn't want to.
I mean, it's a great point. Jalen's definitely a better rushing QB, I won't lie.
Yeah, for sure,
But Mahomes, he can rush when he needs to. I think he'll be fine. We got a good, the Chiefs got a good training staff over there. They're both pretty mediocre on third down defense, both pretty equal on their penalties. I think the script writers like Mahomes a lot better than Jalen Hurts. And, I mean, Jalen Hurts, he wears the number 1. No QB in NFL history has ever won a Super Bowl with the number 1 on their jersey.
That's an interesting stat.
So keep that in mind.
What's your score prediction for this game?
I'm gonna go 30-27 Chiefs.
I'm gonna go for where's the Eagles side. I mentioned before this that I think they're gonna win by double digits. I'm gonna go 34-24 Eagles, but I think it's gonna be a high scoring game. I very well could be wrong. It could be a very close game, shootout all the way. But it'll be interesting this Sunday to see both these amazing teams match up, and we'll send it to Max.
Thank you for tuning in to today's show. Be sure to follow us on social media and watch Jackson Reed's breakdown of the Kyrie Irving trade. Our Twitter and Instagram are both at TakeaSideKU, and we'll have show clips posted as well as other sided content. Caleb Kalsich will also be giving us his prediction for Kansas versus Texas tonight on our socials. We have a great semester ahead with news across all sports, so keep tuning in. From all of us here at Take a Side, we'll see you soon.